This is why I didn't want your brat to watch my movie with me, by user Dr. Pay Adox. I won't lie, I find this rather funny. Recently, my friends and I have been playing Predator, Hunting Grounds, and I've become interested in watching the Predator movies. As such, I've rented the entire series so I can watch them. Horrid cousin of my fantastic mom. Can't seem to understand the MPAA rating. Ed, horrid cousin's husband. Currently baffled by my text tone. Me, a 22M that was ready to punt a child. My fantastic mother. Dad, my father. Currently laughing his ass off. EC1, entitled child, not relevant. EC2, second verse, same as the first. EC3, possibly traumatized, the child in question. The shenaniganery. This Sunday, my mom told us that she invited Em and Ed to come visit. Me cool, are they bringing their kids? Yes, that won't be an issue. Will it? Me hope not. Yeah right lol. By this point, I'd started the movie Predators and had closed my door. Partway through, I heard them arrive and decided to stay in my room. I wanted to watch my movie, and Super Mormons weren't going to like it. A little while later, I heard my door open. I hit pause. Me, you ever heard of knocking? EC3, I want to watch TV. Me, not only no. I'm watching my movie on my setup. You need to leave my room. Now. EC3 shrieks in eldritch horror and storms off. Me fuck. I make my way upstairs to avoid being shouted for. As soon as I enter the living room I get bombarded. What is this about you telling my child that they can't watch TV? Me, firstly, they barged into my room. And yes, my door was closed. Secondly, yes. I told them that they couldn't watch TV on my computer. I'm already watching something, and I don't like others using my computer. Just let him watch TV. He can finish your movie with you. Me, that is a very bad idea. Like 10/10ths bad idea. Ed, geez, are you slow or something? Just do what she said. Me, internally, I'm about to cause an issue, full send fine. Only if you're sure. Yes. Me, okay then. EC1, EC2 and EC3 all get the same look of smug success. I make my way back downstairs, and EC3 is going on about how he wants to watch all these children's shows. I just keep my mouth shut, I didn't want to teach him any new words. Upon reaching my room, I pull up a spare chair for him. I sit in my chair, and hit play. A little bit of time passes, and EC3 is looking a bit scared. Hitting pause. Me, last chance, you really want to be here? EC3, don't make me tell my mom on you. Hits play. By about this point, the protagonists enter an abandoned drill. They soon found out that the guy that lead them, is betraying them. The main character then attracts the predators to the drill. I'm keeping an eye on both the screen and EC3. He had only heard the sound of the predators, and was starting to freak out. By now, the predators appear. The betrayer then gets blown apart by one predator's shoulder cannon. EC3 freaked out. He shot out the door and right up the stairs. Hitting pause, I follow at a leisurely pace. Upon hitting the top, I start getting yelled at by M. How dare you do this to my baby? You're a horrible person to watch something so horrid. I demand that you make it right immediately. Me, excuse the hell out of me? You demanded that I let your child watch my movie. You never said that it was inappropriate. I'm shocked that you would let your son watch something like that. Me, snaps, I sighed, if I'm not mistaken, you and your husband Ed dismissed me saying it was a bad idea. And you leave my mother out of it, so help me God. About 5 seconds of pure silence ensues, only to be broken by my phone going off. As my text tone fills the room on full volume, EC3 freezes in fear. The predator sound filled the room. Unfreezing, EC3 breaks down crying. My dad starts laughing. Well, I never. Ed, how did he? They then left. That's all, for now. EP forced me to have a face-to-face meeting but now are forced to be vaccinated to actually attend the meeting, by user metadata unotrial. Both M and Ed forced a face-to-face meeting with a local regulator to get control over their children's inheritance. Flew to another state to attend the meeting because by the court's standard, this have to be an in-person conversation, which is unnecessary, but I digress. Being devout Christians even in a Muslim country, somehow they are convinced with the whole Jesus is my vaccine thing. Here's the kicker, to fly to this city you need to be vaccinated twice. They don't want to, so instead they drove here, 8 hours minimum. To meet with the regulator, they also need to be fully vaccinated, and maybe because the regulator was so annoyed with EP in their attempt to take the inheritance from the kids to fund their own business/lifestyle, he threw out the case stating they refused to comply to the SOP regulations and ended with that. Unless they are willing to be vaccinated, they cannot follow this route to contest the inheritance. Update on Evil Mama Bear. She was at the hospital, but we weren't, by user Craggle Tom. Well, a lot of people here called it. My sister went into the hospital to be induced and had her baby. So I'm officially an uncle now, to a wonderful little baby boy. Here's how things went down. My sister went in on Saturday to be induced. And like so many of you guessed, EMB went rushing to the hospital the moment she found out. I first got word from the neighbor who lives across from EMB that she came rushing out and got in her car to drive off like a madwoman. Guess she's not afraid enough of the restraining orders against her. But it didn't matter. The hospital she went running to wasn't the one we were at. Instead we went to one 50 miles away, and said online that the birth was going to be at the local hospital. On the chance EMB was still ghosting our social medias, we stated the wrong hospital on purpose to throw her off. It worked like a charm. From what I found out, she went to the maternity ward of our local hospital and made a huge scene of telling them to let her in until they convinced her we weren't there, and she was escorted out by security. My sister was in labor for 27 hours. I got no sleep that night. I, with help from my girlfriend, coordinated almost everything. Right down to the hotel we stayed at for a couple days. And we only just got home this morning. During the birth I waited around the hospital like a guard dog in case EMB somehow figured out where we were. I packed a taser while patrolling the parking lot. But I wasn't allowed to carry it inside. Thankfully we had guards on alert in advance after explaining the situation to the hospital staff. I brought my old Game Boy Advance SP and its charge cord with me to play Metroid Fusion and Mario Kart while sitting around the waiting room. Still love playing on that old Game Boy. As soon as we were home this morning, we told the whole story to the family on social media. There's no way EMB wasn't watching. So she likely knows the gender of the baby by now. Since she would have willingly violated the restraining orders both my sister and I have against her by going to the hospital she thought we were at, my lawyer has already sent her a C&D letter for it. So she'll know we know what she tried to do. We're all of the belief that EMB was holding out hope that my sister would have a baby girl. But my sister and FBIL held off on telling any of us the gender of the baby before it was born. I don't really blame them for not saying. Not with EMB watching. If they'd said it was a boy sooner, EMB probably wouldn't have believed it. But now with the baby photos up for all the family to see, there's no way for EMB to deny it now. My F26, mom, F53, has a list of people that she wants to invite to our wedding that is longer than my fiancé, M30, and my list combined, by USER 42020 GRAD. From the mom who got a bigger wedding ring because she was jealous of her daughter's engagement ring, I bring you the next installment of Entitled Mothering. My fiancé and I have decided to have a small wedding. I say this with quotes because I am Indian and Hindu weddings are usually 300 plus people and last 4 to 5 days. My fiancé is American and I am American born and raised, however I am the first cousin to marry on my mom and dad's side, and it's becoming apparent they don't even want to be in the same building. They're divorced and hate each other, but that's another story I guess. Anyways. When we first got engaged our limit was 150 people. I was already pushing my fiancé because he was dead set on 100, but I knew that was going to be impossible, so I convinced him to raise to 150. Once we told my mom that number, she about spat out her drink. Is that a hard number? We tried to say yes. Over the first 4 months of us being engaged we started talking and mom was holding paying for the catering over our heads. If I'm paying for the food, then why does it matter how many people I invite? That's how it started. We fought every time we talked about it, and I told my fiancé to please raise again to 175 to allow my mom to invite her people and I could have some peace. Save the dates have come in and mom and I finally talk about the list. I already had her for 60 names, including some of her friends and distant family I haven't seen in years. This already was more than I had wanted, but I thought she would be happy. As we go through the list, she adds a cousin and wife here, and an auntie and husband there. Final number was 125 people, guys. My fiancé and I had 110 people, and I start panicking and telling her to stop adding more people. She goes on full rant how I'm the selfish one who wanted to have a wedding that wasn't a destination or get eloped so I didn't have to invite all these people. What? So just because I won't invite an extra 60 family members I don't even know the names of we didn't deserve a wedding to celebrate with our closest loved ones. The amount of times I've heard can we change the venue? Or well it's your fault for choosing too small of a venue. Instead of just respecting our wishes, she's trying to find any loophole to allow more and more people to come or just to insult me until I feel bad enough to let it slide. I also made the mistake of making my sister maid of honor because she basically just backs everything mom says and won't stand up for me at all. Well, I'm not giving her any physical copies and that's the only way I am hopefully able to control who these get sent to. Y'all. It's been kind of a nightmare with her and it's really putting a damper on our relationship. Just wanted to vent. TLDR, my mom has already pushed the number of total people coming to the wedding for my fiancé and I. After thinking that 60 people was enough for her list, she corrects it to have 125, surpassing the 110 that my fiancé and I are inviting. Entitled mom doesn't think she needs to parent her child because he has autism. I correct her and shame her into parenting, by userust For some context, I live in a basement apartment with my husband and our dog who as well as being a service animal, loves kids and is very mild-mannered. We have been having issues with our upstairs neighbors since November in regards to loud stomping, furniture being slammed, and loud screaming. I have been up to talk to them about it several times and last night I reached my breaking point. I went upstairs to ask them to please stop stomping as my husband works early mornings and was trying to sleep for work. When she opened the door I could see that the small 2-bedroom apartment had no less than 6 adults and 4 kids inside of it. I calmly asked them to stop the stomping and since this is the 3rd time I have had to ask in the last 4 months, the next time it got this bad I would be lodging a complaint with the property management company. My neighbor had a friend over who has a 3-year-old who is on the spectrum and was the one stomping the hardest and causing the most amount of noise. Her friend gets a sour look on her face and started chirping at me from across the room. Friend, you live in a basement apartment and he has autism, what the hell do you expect me to do? There is going to be some noise. Me, okay, I get that I live in the basement but stomping until picture frames fall off my walls is a different story. Friend, well he has autism, what the hell do you expect me to do? Me, put some slippers on him, or maybe secure some pillows to his feet. If he absolutely has to stomp his feet let him lay on the sofa and kick the back of it or let him kick the wall if it needs to be something hard. Friend, exasperated sigh, well he likes dinosaurs and he gets excited when he sees them and when he gets excited he stomps his feet. Me, then don't show him a movie with dinosaurs. Friend, another snort, you just don't get it, he has autism. Me, no, I get it, I worked with kids with needs for 3 years. I worked with a kid who loved to stomp and when he needed to I would wrap his feet in foam and let him go to town on a sound dampening mat I picked up for him to stomp on. Friend, oh. Well, I guess he can quiet it down a bit. Edit, I have received a lot of information from both sides of the argument that I would like the address. 1. This occurred at 10:30 p.m., hence my agitation. 2. The friend in question does not live in the building and was just visiting. 3. There was a long conversation between me and the actual neighbor that I did not include as it pertained to things leading up to this conversation. 4. Yes, 3 complaints in 4 months seem like minimal but each complaint came after weeks of non-ending noise, night after night until I reached my breaking point. 5. The foam I was referring to was specialized foam foot coverings, kind of look like blocky slippers, that the mom I had worked with had made for her child. I had seen similar ideas online and that is what I was referring to. I do know how ridiculous it sounds to tape sheets of foam to anyone's feet.